people must immediately be paraded, prosecuted, and laid low. That is cause. Delaying prosecution will create another impression that something is amiss. I therefore call on the prosecutor authorities to please, as a matter of urgency, let them prosecute, let them parade, let them show an example to these people. Secondly, it is clear that this abduction has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with money, commerce. It has everything to do with business. When you see toddlers, 1.5 years, 2 years, confined to this ordeal, I begin to ask myself, how would these people be in Nigeria when they grow up? You know, this is something that they will live forever. And these are 7 year or 1 year or 2 years old, supposing they will stay for 80, 70 years, they will never forget this thing. So I employ the Oyo State government to also look for psychologists to them do what they need to do as psychologists. Secondly, the officers who lost their lives, the government and the Senate must ensure that this is done. The government must be seen to let them openly. They cannot bring their lives back, but let the government do something tangible. It's not a matter of just give them a CON. No. Let them be provided with material things. And then secondly, the armed forces must also give them promotion posthumously, especially those who are alive. As long as you do this thing out in the open, then you are encouraging security personnel. Therefore, I've been given 2 minutes. I would like to say, thank the National Security Advisor to create this synergy between the security forces so that those who are in captivity in every part of this Nigeria must be seen to be rescued in a manner already abductees have been rescued. Thank you very much. Senator
Thank you, Mr. President, and my respected colleagues. I remember Lisa Mutare Mohammed representing Katsina South. My senatorial district is also one of the most affected in this criminality. But we have to commend the effort of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in terms of the system and coordinated operation to ensure the rescue of these children in Oyo State. And we have to commend the effort put in place by the President and Commander-in-Chief in making sure that those children are brought safely. Despite the fact of the trend, because the trend is one of the most dangerous and the most unfortunate place in Nigeria. But what is important now, I think it is very good to sustain this criminal operation against these criminals. It happens in Zamfara State recently, about 300 of them were neutralized. This is a very good development. It happens also in my senatorial district, about 10 of them were neutralized. It happens in Kaduna State. So what is needed now is to give the security, most especially the armed forces, the desire and the required support in terms of sustaining this military operation so that we can flush these criminals and also ensure safety and development of this country. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Wasiu Eshinoku Soni, Senator representing Lagos Central. I want to join my colleagues in commending commending Mr. President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Nigerian Armed Forces, and other security agencies for the successful rescue of abducted children and their teachers in the local government area of Oyo State. And also recognize the gallant security personnel who paid the supreme sacrifice during this operation. I want to also adopt all the prayers in this motion. Thank you. Your time is off. We'll now give 1 minute because of so many people want to speak. So tax exam, then Senator Sita, the in between the two, the ticket plan or Shemole will take one person. They will take the procedure. Of course, the procedure being former chairman of the APC, so you have to. So you have the floor. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Dr. Titus and I represent Benue Northwest. Mr. President, pouring of inconvenience or commendations on Mr. President cannot be enough because of the effects of this singular accomplishment, both on the psyche, the politics, and even the economy of this country. Mr. President, leadership in Nigeria is a thankless job. Yes, at times, people blame than commend or praise. The time was when I reported in the chamber that my personal residence in my local government was touched by irate youths because there were security breaches in one of the villages in my local government. That is the extent to which the locals look up to Abuja for solution to all social, political, and economic problems. It does appear that nobody thinks that the subnational layers of authority have a role to play. And so, when Mr. President comes in on a matter like this, he makes us feel very, very comfortable. And so, I want to join my colleagues to amend conclusively, sir, that when we come to the prayers, we should always emphasize the expected complementarity of the subnational governments in managing the security of this country. So, they do have a role to play. Senator, 1 minute. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ositam. I represent Enugu West. Mr. President, I think we have done all the commendations, and I join also to commend the President and also the armed forces. Mr. President, but beyond the commendation, this is also seen as an abduction too many in this country. From the government of President Goodluck Jonathan, we have recorded about 1,700 people abducted. And I also know that as a safe school initiative established by the government. My question is it working or is it not working? Mr. President, we had 276 in Chibok, 110 in Dapchi State, 344 boys in Katsina, 80 in Katsina again, and I can name them up until a year in Oyo State that has 39 students abducted. In a total, 1,700 people abducted from the time of Goodluck Jonathan till today. What is going to be the solution? Are we going to come again and commend when there is another abduction and rescue? We have a federal government initiative on safe school students. If it is not working, I will commend the federal government to call on a drawing table to check the implementation of that safe school initiative, such that we cannot, it is too many to have more than 17 school abductions in a space of 10 years. If that school initiative, safe school initiative is not working, how can it be tweaked in a way that it will work, that we don't come here again in a few months? Thank you. It's a very good point. We have to look at that again. So to Adam Oshomole. Mr. President, thank you very, very much. My name is Adams Eric Oshomole. I represent the very good people of Edo North in Edo State. I rise to commend this motion and the fact that it was moved by our Senate leader, which reflects the collective feeling of this Senate that if we have spent time to denounce in the past, it is just appropriate that on this occasion that our armed forces have demonstrated uncommon courage and apparently evolved a different strategy to rescue these children is something that all of us should commend. That said, just two issues. The emergency minority leader, Yuri, spoke to about paying something appropriate to the men who pay the supreme price and others. I will add that if one man must be paid for loss of life, all those who have lost their lives in Borno, in Niger, everywhere else that the armed forces have been active, I do not think you can separate one from the other. So we have to have a general policy that deals with those of our countrymen and women in uniform who have paid the supreme price in the course of defending the country. But Mr. President, I read this morning in newspapers and I've seen it in the electronic. The governor of Oyo State calling on the United Nations to investigate the overall circumstances surrounding the kidnap and even the rescue. I thought that was the most unstatemanly. He was carrying partisan politics too far, and this image should condemn his unguided statement. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. When we wake up and call on foreign authorities to investigate, this is one case in which our armed forces have shown that without paying ransom, even if it meant that these children and some of the elders had to be in captivity for almost 2 months, that the armed forces were working quietly to have these rescue operations, which, as well captured in this mission, led to some loss of life. To trivialize it, to suggest, as the governor of Oyo State seems to have done, that there is something that is not open, that the UN needs to unearth the circumstances, is to question the sovereignty of our nation and to downplay the achievement of the commander-in-chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and all the service chiefs and in fact all those involved in this process. I think that there is a moment in the history of a nation when across party divide we should stand in unison to commend what has happened, I mean the way people were released, and to encourage the armed forces to build on it, that they should extend and get more gadgets. I mean, it's not possible for them to share with us some of the things they did. Like I heard, they were able to identify the guys, and then some of their relatives, etc., etc. These are not things that we're interested in. But I want us to resolve. The government of Oyo State should not be seen as downplaying, undermining, and politicizing an issue in which ought to be something that the whole nation across party divide should start in unison to commend our armed forces for what they have accomplished on this occasion.
Thank you very much. Chairman Committee of Army to ventilate his view. Thank you, Mr. President, my distinguished colleague. I'm Abdulaziz Musa Rabia, representing Katsina Central. I rise to also commend Mr. President, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for this rescue effort, and also the armed forces, the police, and all other security agencies. Of course, my heart goes to Lieutenant F.A. Isaac, Private Silas Musa of 81 Battalion, as well as Police Sergeant Adina John Jirin, for the sacrifice they've made. I want to commend the armed forces, and this has shown the level of collaboration and the synergy that has been shown by the armed forces, the police, and other security agencies. However, I want to
also call on them to sustain the momentum and also rescue all other Nigerians that are abducted across the other buildings. Thank you very much. Beloved, you don't listen. So it's not church, don't go to the prayers. Oh, then we look at we go to the other side and pick our female senator to ventilate again. We'll give you 1 minute. Yours should have because you are okay. 1 minute, please. Yes, Mr. President, very slowly comments. I am Issa Jibril, representing the very people of the East. Yes, my worry is this. We have problem with intelligence gathering, okay, and information management in this country. As it is today, everybody is bothered. As it is today, we feel that another community will soon witness this same occurrence. It's like wearing nest. Will it happen? The same intelligence that they have used or that they are using to rescue all these abducted children should also be used to forestall it. So it doesn't happen. Intelligence gathering is very important. When you see a group of people moving around in the night and what that, they are suspects. They should be arrested. We shouldn't wait for all these things to happen. If they have been able to adopt intelligence to rescue the children, that same type of intelligence should have been adopted in the first place to forestall it. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. I shouldn't be accused of lack of gender equity, so I will also give you 1 minute. What have you?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm Senator Natasha Akpoti-Nduama, Kogi Central. I would also like to join my voice in appreciating the efforts of Mr. President and the army and every other persons who were involved in the rescue of the children and the teachers. But I'd like to add a vital part to this motion, please, and it has to do with the provision of psychological support, trauma counseling, and rehabilitation for the rescued victims to facilitate their full recovery from the trauma. And if it may be extended to every other kidnapped victims, we shouldn't just rescue them and expect them to reintegrate into the society. It's often not easy because most of them will suffer from PTSD and all whatnot. So in summary, the need for us to incorporate the provision of psychological support, trauma counseling, and rehabilitation for the rescued victims, not just for the Oyo victims, but every other kidnapped victims. Thank you.
Thank you for going on time by using 1 minute to mention out your point. Thank you very much. So we go to prayers. Prayer 1. Commend His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his decisive leadership, strategic direction, and unwavering commitment to strengthening Nigerian security architecture. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Also commend the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, the Department of State Security Services, that is the DG, the National Intelligence Agency, and of course, the DG and all the staff of the Department of State Services, the National Intelligence Agency, and all officers and personnel who participated in the operation for their exceptional professionalism, courage, patriotism, and selfless service to this nation. Those in favor, this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes of it. Congratulate the skilled school children, teachers, and their families on the successful conclusion of their traumatic ordeal, and pray for the peaceful repose of the soul of the teacher who lost his life during the period of captivity. Those in favor of the prayer say aye. The ayes have it.
Mr. Amendment to this.
Amendment.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I just thought it wise to incorporate the addition to the motion into this prayer. So it will read this: congratulate the rescued school children, teachers and their families on the successful conclusion of their traumatic ordeal, and call on the federal and state governments in collaboration with relevant agencies to ensure the provision of psychological support, trauma counseling, and rehabilitation for the rescued victims to facilitate full recovery from psychological effects of the kidnapping, and pray for the peaceful repose of the soul of the teacher who lost his life during the period of captivity.
Second of this amendment, Senator Dick Plan, President of the Senate, my dear colleagues and Senator Dick Plan, I rise to second the amendment made by Senator Natasha that psychological treatment. It was a very long amendment. Yes, sir. So just you second it. And I compensated you for not allowing to speak. That's why we are so really wanting to second. Understand that that's the compensation. And I have been compensated. Those in favor of the amendment put forward by Senator Natasha and seconded by Senator Dick Plan, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 4. Pay glowing tribute to the memory of Lieutenant F.A. Isaac N2049, Private Silas Musa, 23NE/84/46404, 81 Battalion, Nigerian Army as Sergeant Abena John Jeremy, Service number F/NO234511. Nigerian Police Force, who paid the supreme sacrifice during the rescue operation in Oriri, local government area of Oyo State, in defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and for the protection of innocent school children and their teachers. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Observe a minute silence in honor of the fallen heroes in recognition of their exceptional courage, patriotism, and selfless service to the nation. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 6. Extend the heartfelt condolences of the Senate to the family of the fallen personnel, the Nigerian Armed Forces, the Nigerian Police Force, and the entire Nigerian security community, while praying that Almighty God grants the departed eternal rest and comfort those who left behind. Those before this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes of it. Prayer 7. Commend Lance Corporal Adamu Hussein, service number 16NE/75-6430, 81 Battalion, Nigerian Army, for his gallantry and courage in the face of great danger, while wishing a speedy and full recovery, and all the appropriate authorities to ensure he receives the best possible medical treatment and all welfare entitlement due to him. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes of it. All the federal government to sustain and intensify ongoing military and intelligence operations against terrorists, kidnappers, bandits, and other criminal elements across the federation through the provision of modern equipment, advanced surveillance technology, intelligence capabilities, improved logistics, and enhanced welfare packages for members of the armed forces and other security agencies until every Nigerian can live, work, and pursue education without fear. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. Amendment, Senator Mohammed Ndidi. Thank you, Mr. President. My amendment to prayer 8 is to urge the federal government to sustain and intensify ongoing military intelligence operations against terrorists, kidnappers, bandits, and other criminal elements across the Federation through the provision of modern equipment, advanced surveillance technology, intelligent capabilities, improved improve logistics and enhance welfare packages for members of armed forces and other security agencies until all Nigerians in captivity, especially the Musa children, Lassa students, Buratai travelers, and the Washo people, and others are rescued. And every Nigerian can live and work and pursue education without fear. And so, please, Senator Kakashi Olawan, SAN.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kakashi Olawan, APC, Borno Central. I will hereby second the amendment.
So, Borno South move the motion, Borno Central second the motion.
Thank you.
Right? Those in favor of the prayer moved by Senator Ali Ndidi, Borno South, and seconded by Senator Kakashi Olawan, Borno Central, as read by Senator Ali Ndidi, the amendment as read by Senator Ali, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 9. Also urge the federal government to ensure the prompt payment of all statutory debt benefits, insurance claims, pensions, and other welfare entitlements due to the families of the fallen heroes, and to continue strengthening the welfare, training, equipment, and operational capacity of members of the armed forces and other security agencies. Those of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 10. Urge Nigerians to continue supporting the armed forces and other security agencies through timely intelligence, cooperation, and patriotism. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 11. Direct the clerk of the National Assembly to transmit copies of this resolution to His Excellency the President of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Service Chiefs, the National Security Advisor, the Inspector General of Police, and the heads of all relevant security and intelligence agencies as evidence of appreciation, confidence, and support for the Senate of the Federal, from the Senate, and support of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Those who know this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Additional prayer, Senator, the manager of the movement, Senator Peter Ume. Acting Minority Leader. Thank you, Mr. President. In view of our joy over the success of this operation, I want to put an additional prayer. Yes. The additional prayer is urge the armed forces to review and adopt the strategies deployed in rescue operations of the school children in Oyo State for future rescue operations. So, Seconder, please. Seconder is dead on arrival, no Seconder. It's okay. Second. Mr. President, I will say second. Those who know this is not prayer say aye. This is against any, that's a bit. So that is only original that the Senate urged the governor of Oyo State, who has called on the United Nations to investigate the overall circumstances of the kidnap and the rescue operations, to desist from trivializing what obviously is a national effort. Seconder, please. Seconder. That is that. Oh, sorry. Former Speaker. Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Ambassador Kwame Northeast. I rise to second the motion ably moved by the distinguished Senator Adam Beshimole. I should second that. it's 1-1. So okay, do you go for extra time or rematch? Rematch. Okay, those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Guys have it. I commend the leader of the Senate for bringing forward this motion. I also commend those who contributed, particularly the co-sponsor, Senator Buhari Abdul-Fattah, who contributed in this debate. Leader, you have done very well by bringing this motion at this time. All this happened yesterday, and it's quite good to commend Mr. President for what he did. And not only him, also those members of the armed forces who contributed to the orders of the CNC to execute the operation. The President has done very well. We are grateful to him. We commend him for doing a good job. He has been doing this anyway. We know the commitment he has deployed into making sure that we bring this issue of insecurity to change the trajectory, to bring everything to normalcy. We know what has been doing quite okay. But like I said, I always say that terrorism is a global phenomenon. As we speak, it's something that transcends borders. It's something that the entire world is facing. And is doing his best to do the situation. All we need to tell you at this stage is not to falter on the party has taken to bring security, full security to our nation. We are proud of him and we stand by him, and the National Assembly or the Senate in particular stands by him, and we continue to support him. And to those who contributed to the success of this operation, we commend them as encapsulating the motion, and we pray that one day we shall never witness this kind of thing again in the entire country. So let's stand and observe 1 minute prayer in honor of those who lost their lives. May the souls of those who lost their lives in the ugly incidents of abduction of school children and their teachers that took place in the Oriri local government area of Oyo State rest in perfect peace. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. The first business of the day is the presentation of an executive bill standing in the name of the leader of the Senate on the Administration of Criminal Justice Act to repeal and enactment bill 2026 LD 1062. Mr. President, we need to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the first title, the short title of the bill. The clerk of the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished senators, Administration of Criminal Justice Act, repeal and enactment bill 2026 HB 1062, first reading. Administration of Criminal Justice Act, repeal and enactment bill 2026 HB 1062, first reading taken. Your Senate. Mr. President, very distinguished senators, the second business of the day, the presentation of a House bill standing in the name of the leader of the Senate on the Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2026, HB 1605. Mr. President, you will need to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill. The Clerk of the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2026, HB 1604, first reading. Federal Medical Center Act Amendment Bill 2026, HB 1605, first reading taken. Legal Senate. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in the name of the leader of the Senate on the Nigerian Correctional Service Act Amendment Bill 2026, HB 2374. Mr. President, you will need to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill. The Clerk of the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Correctional Service Act Amendment Bill 2026, HB 2374, first reading. Nigerian Correctional Service Act Amendment Bill 2026, HB 2374, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate. Thank you, Mr. President, and well distinguished colleagues. The second order of the day is the second reading of the Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2026, SB 1057. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Tuesday, 7th July 2026. Mr. President, we want to invite our most Senate to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time. Let me now give the floor to Senator Abdullah to proceed with respect to this motion as mentioned by the leader of the Senate. Thank you, Mr. President. My highly respected and distinguished colleagues, on the general principles of the bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act 2026 to establish the Federal Medical Center at Kebbi State and for related matters. This bill received its first reading on the floor of this hallowed chamber on Tuesday, 7th July 2026. The bill seeks to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act 2026 by providing for the establishment of the Federal Medical Center at Kebbi State. This has become imperative following the conversion of the Federal Medical Center at Kebbi into a teaching hospital of the Federal University in Kebbi. Distinguished colleagues, Federal medical centers are established across the nation in order to expand access to tertiary health care services, strengthen the healthcare delivery system, promote medical education and research, and advance the federal government's commitment to equitable distribution of healthcare institutions across the Federation. The objectives of this amendment are as follows. 1. The establishment of the center itself. 2. Expansion of access to specialist and tertiary healthcare services to the people of Kebbi and Kebbi North in particular. 3. Strengthening the healthcare referral system in the entire Kebbi state and the Northwest geopolitical zone. 4. Promote medical education, residency training, clinical research and development of healthcare manpower. And 5. Support federal government's commitment to universal health coverage and equitable access to quality healthcare services. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, we are all aware of the importance of healthcare delivery to every society. A healthy population is indispensable for economic growth. Kebbi North Territorial District deserves this consideration because it has 6 local government areas with a population of more than 1.4 billion people and a catchment area that covers not only Kebbi State but Sokoto, Zamfara and the neighboring republics of Benin and Niger republics. Despite this strategic population and strategic importance and its geographical location, Kebbi North Senatorial District does not have any federal institution, either educational or healthcare or whatever. We don't have any educational or any federal presence in that senatorial district. Therefore, the establishment of a federal medical center in Albany will address this long-standing deficit by bringing specialist healthcare services closer to the people while strengthening the healthcare referral network in the state. The next program addresses the location of the federal medical center, particularly it shares international boundaries with Niger Republic and Benin Republic, and the increasing movement of people, livestock, goods across these borders represents unique public health challenges requiring strengthened disease surveillance, emergency preparedness, and coordinated public health response. This proposed medical center is not going to go into as a vacuum. There is already an outreach center which belongs to Usman Tambojo University Teaching Hospital, which is called Comprehensive Medical Center. We cited a lot of health works and clinical institutions in that place. So that medical center can serve as a take-off point instead of building a fresh new medical facility. There is a center already that can be utilized for the take-off of this institution. We have concluded in the last paragraph there what the enactment of this bill will represent. Our prayer, Mr. President, is that this bill a practical and forward-looking legislative intervention that seeks to address a genuine healthcare need to the establishment of this institution. The bill will improve access to quality and tertiary healthcare services, strengthen medical education and research, enhance emergency medical response, promote balanced national development, and ensure a more equitable distribution of federal healthcare institutions and services across the Federation. It represents a movement to spread federal government institutions to underserved communities. Therefore, I urge Mr. President and my highly respected colleagues to please consider this proposal and support this bill and support it for the second reading. I I so forgive. My colleagues, please, I don't think there's any debate for the way for this very important, very straightforward bill. This bill is straightforward. It speaks for itself. The need to have this medical center situated in Argungu cannot be overemphasized. It's something that would be good for the area, also for the state and the entire nation. So is it the view that this bill is a second time, please? Yes. Those against you, the ayes have it. The clerk of the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act to establish the Federal Medical Centers within the Kebbi State. ND for the related matters 2026, FB 1057, second reading. A bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act to establish Federal Medical Center Argungu, Kebbi State, and for related matters 2026, 22nd reading taken. The bill is referred to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary, will talk back within 4 weeks. Let me commend Senator Abdullahi Yahaya for bringing forward or for sponsoring this bill. As we speak, so many Nigerians on a yearly basis travel to overseas for medical tourism. And this is due to the fact that we don't have enough of this kind of facilities around. Once we are able to have the desired number of such facilities, this kind of project has been proposed to be built, to be established in Argungu, I don't think we will be spending our hard earned for the exchange to travel overseas for medical attention. So the more the merrier. It's therefore very important that we have more of these kind of facilities in order to take care of our health delivery, health needs, so that we have a sound health delivery system within our country. Thank you very much, the Senate leader. Can we move ahead? Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the second reading of the non-urban land delineation survey mapping legislation and documentation bill 2026 LB 1036. The civil senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 3rd June 2026. However, Mr. President, the sponsor of the bill is not available, distinguished Senator Ekpenyong. And in view of that, I'll be moving that we stand down the bill either to later in the day or to another legislative day if it doesn't show up. He's currently on another official assignment. I so move. Minority Leader, second the motion. So move. Order, please. Chibu. Order, please. The civil servant below. Review your seat. The civil servant, Yoradua, review your seat. The civil servant, Babangida, review your seat. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against the ayes have it. The House said. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on National Identity Card and National Population on the death, etc. Compulsory Registration Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2026, SB 913. The citizen senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Thursday, 4th December 2025. Mr. President, we wish to invite most distinguished Senator Ine Victor, at this time acting as the minority leader, who is the chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report. Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ine, OFR. I rise to move that the Senate do receive the report of the Committee on National Identity Card and National Population to present the report on a bill and act to repeal the deaths, and so on, Compulsory Registration Act B9, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and to enact the Compulsory Civil Registration Act 2026 to provide for electronic civil registration system and for related matters, SB 913. Senator Anthony Ani, Senator Professor Anthony Ani Okoli, can you support the motion? Thank you, Mr. President. My dear colleagues, my name is Senator Professor Anthony Ani. I represent Ebonyi South. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Senator Dr. Victor Ume. I so second, Mr. President. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. So nobody is, no response. It's like you cannot play because no response. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You can proceed. You can present from there. You are the acting minority leader. Oh, someone has taken over from you? Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Victor Ume, OFR, the chairman of the Senate Committee on National Identity Card and National Population. Mr. President, I rise to present this report on the bill and act to repeal the deaths, and so on, Compulsory Registration Act Cap B9, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the Compulsory Civil Registration Act 2026 to provide for electronic civil registration system and for related matters, SB 913. Mr. President, this bill was first read in this chamber on the 15th day of October 2025 and was subsequently taken on the second reading and referred to the committee for further legislative action. Mr. President, the objectives of the bill have been set out and also taken during the second reading. And when the bill was referred to our committee, we proceeded to organize public hearing to obtain relevant input from stakeholders in the course of advancing the objectives of this bill. Mr. President, the legislative summary is that after the public hearing, the committee further deliberated on all the views canvassed in the course of the hearing and accordingly in its scrutiny of the provisions of the bill, in line with the inputs and contributions made by stakeholders during the public hearing. Also, editorial corrections and redraft of some clauses of the bill were also made to ensure that the provisions of the bill conform to normative legislative drafting standards. All these modifications are as set out in the attached table to this report for your consideration and approval. Recommendations. The committee hereby recommends as follows: that the Senate do consider and pass the compulsory civil registration bill, civil registration of births and deaths bill 2026-0913 as contained in the attached table. Conclusion on behalf of members of the Senate Committee on National Identity Card and National Population. Managing 20 to 21 to 25, stand pass with the BCR, 21 to 45, 46 to 50, 51 to 55, 56 to 60, stand pass with the bill, that is what the 56, bill if he was here, stand pass with the bill, say aye, Chairman, the minority leader. Those against it, the ayes are. Number of clauses, just 1 to 77, will transfer in the committee of the whole. The committee be adopted. Thirdly, I hereby move that the bill should be read for that time. The House Leader. That the bill is the bill for an act of Nigeria 2004, third matters, tracing, compulsory restriction. Let me commend the chairman of this committee, the committee on national, and also members of the committee to go with modernity. It's a kind of reform that will bring our system in this respect in line with our global best practices. And the spirit through which you use, sorry, the spirit that you applied in processing. Thank you very much, and God bless. Thank you. The 7th orders of the day are as bills for concurrence as listed in the other paper. Mr. President, for interchamber reciprocity, I will present a single bill debate on this bill. Mr. President, who is it? Mr. President, lead debate on bills for concurrence from the House of Representatives, sponsored by the Senate leader. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, permit me to do debate on these important bills from the House of Representatives for concurrence of Senate. Number 1, this bill seeks to repeal the Federal Road Safety Commission Establishment Act number 22, 2007 and enact the Federal Road Safety Commission Bill 2026, the provisions of users of such highways, regulation of traffic, and clearing of obstruction on any part of the highways, as well as education of drivers, motorists, and other members of public in general. Now, HB 2089, the bill seeks to repeal the Federal College of Medical Laboratory Science and Technology, JOS, Act 2022, an institution for the development, management, and administration of the university. Number 3, Federal University of Technology Act, Amendment Bill 2020, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies. Yaba. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, these bills are straightforward and are successfully passed through that the bills are satisfied and clear by the ad hoc committee and concurrence by the Senate have been fully met. You may wish to know that establishment of these universities for their power polytechnics to support the two items. We resolve here that that's what Mr. President, that there's a 7-year freeze in respect of the establishment of any new university in Nigeria. So based on that, we agreed here that we will not entertain any bill that has to do with the establishment of a new institution. And I don't know whether it's... Thank you, Mr. President. This, if that is the key, what's going on. So I don't think there's any question he has done. The second reading, Establishment Act number 22, 2007, and in Act the Federal Road Safety Commission Bill, the use of such highways with educating drivers matters 2026, SBs 141 and 164. Second reading. Mr. President, the Senators 6 HB second reading. Mr. President, the Senators believe and act to amend the Federal Universities of Technology Act Cap F23, laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2024 to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies, second reading. A bill from an act now the Federal Road Safety Commission Bill to establish the Federal Road Safety Commission charged with the responsibility for road traffic administration and safety management, preventing and minimizing accidents on highways, supervision of users of such highways, regulation of traffic and clearing of obstruction on any part of the highways, and for educating drivers, motorists, and other members of the public generally on proper use of highways, and for related matters 2026, HBS 1401, 1401 and 1604, second reading. The bill for that. That's number 2. This one now to repeal the Federal College of Medical Laboratory Science and Technology, JOS Act 2022, and enact the Federal University of Medical Laboratory Science and Technology, JOS Bill, to make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university and related matters 2026, HB 2089, second reading taken. Number 3, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Technology Act, Cap F23 laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies, Kaduna, and Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies, Yaba, and for related matters, HB 18 and 91. That the bills will refer to the committee, talk to a committee of the whole for further to 10. Form parts of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 10 and 11 to 20 form part of this bill, say aye. Ayes have it. Say aye. Those again, schedules 22 to 34. explanatory memorandum on page 30, non-titled on page 31, all stand parts of this bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Federal University of Science and Technology, JOS, Establishment Bill 2026 AB 2089. Those in favor that clauses 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 28, all stand parts of this bill. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation on page 18, short title on page 19, schedules page 95. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the short title on page 2, explanatory memorandum on page 2, non-title on page 1, all stand pass of this bill. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Can you move that this August Senate revert to the plenary to report progress? I thank you, Mr. President, sitting as the committee of the whole. You see the situation. Thank you. Report number 2. The Senate and the Committee of the Whole consider the federal recommended interplanetary memorandum as recommended. No, you save the situation. Consider the Federal University of Technology Act Amendment Bill 2026. Number of clauses, clause 1 to 4 as recommended. Short title, clause 5 as recommended. List of highways and for related matters 2026, HBs 14101 and 1604. Third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill and act to repeal the Federal Colleges of Medical, Laboratory Sciences and Technology JOS Act 2022 and enact the Federal University of Medical, Laboratory Sciences and Technology JOS Bill to make comprehensive provisions for management and administration of the university and for related matters 2026 HB 2089. Third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill and act to amend the Federal Universities of Technology Act Cap F 23 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to provide the establishment of Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies Kaduna and Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies Yaba and for related matters 2026 HBs 18 and 1910. Third reading. To report the Federal Road Safety Commission establishing Act number 22, 2007 and the Federal Road Safety Commission Bill to establish the Federal Road Safety Commission charged with responsibility for road traffic administration and safety management, preventing and minimizing accidents on highways, supervision of rules on such highways, regulation of traffic and clearing of obstructions on any part of the highways and for educating drivers, motorists, and other members of the public generally on the proper use of highways and related matters 2026 HBs 1401 and 1604. Third reading taken and passed. The bill from Act to repeal the Federal College of Medical Laboratory Science and Technology JOS Act 2022 and enact the Federal University Medical Laboratory Science and Technology JOS Bill to make comprehensive provisions for Law Management and Administration of the University of Related Matters 2026, HB 2089, read, taken and passed. The bill for that to amend the Federal Universities of Technology Act (CAP) F23 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies, Kaduna, and Federal University of Technology and Vocational Studies, Yaba, and Related Matters 2026, HBs 18 and 1910, third reading, taken and passed. The leader of the Senate, can you please move that this Senate adjourn till tomorrow by 11 prompt? Order what? Order 1B. Mr. President, Order 1B says, in all cases not provided for in this standing order, or by the sessional or other orders or practice of the Senate, the Senate shall, by resolution, regulate its procedure. Mr. President recalled, he came from the House of Representatives. The Senate leader also came from the House of Representatives. The Senate whip also came from the House of Representatives. The Speaker of standing here, also a product of the House of Representatives. Senator Wadada, Karimi, and others. At every given time, to encourage members to stay till the end, you recall the House of Representatives had a convention seated for the Senate, for the House, for the Senate to do the needful. I will encourage you, Mr. President, to also take attendance as it is now, so that members, by the months, will be a reference point, and when the need arises, it will showcase that these members stay all through the proceedings. I'm sure I'll give you details of what you need to do in the House just to fresh up your memories. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. You want to comment on that? Yeah. Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, your decision, Senator Lindi, was in order, and by talking about doing the needful, you actually mean that in good faith. The essence of doing that is to ensure that distinguished lawmakers always, one, participate actively in the proceedings, and two, also recognize the need to wait till we finish whatever we have on our order paper for the day. And part of the briefing that Senator Lindi was talking about is when, for instance, the leadership is called upon to submit the name of active lawmakers that for national award or whatever the records like that come in handy, and we are guided by such things. Thank you so much. Well, I commend you for bringing forward this line of thinking for the Senate will kind of remind some of us who are either not punctual or who don't sit throughout the sessions, so that they will think twice in doing that in the future. And this is quite noted, and the leadership will take appropriate reflection on this and will keep record. And when the time comes, as said by the leader, we will compensate you, those who stand through the session. Of course, we have reason to support so many senators here based on this reason that you've adduced when we are called upon to give name for those to be conferred with national honors. In fact, I'm a product of that kind of what you've said, because at the point I was the most punctual senator during the last Senate. At the point. And my record also was, structured. That started from January to December, think when we're about to get done with that session, with that the Senate, the Senate among themselves felt that I should, the presiding officer, but one of the presiding officers, I'm glad today I'm by this board, the presiding officer. So what we are saying is very important. We are taking notes, and when the time comes, we compensate those who are punctual and those who stay to the session, not those who just say 2 minutes and run away. And even our principal see what you are doing, and you are one of those who are always punctual, and one of those who stay throughout. You are an occasion center, but I have to say the truth. So thank you very much for drawing attention to this, and your observation is quite blatant and upheld.
Mr. Chairman, let me give you my own example also.
Okay, well, I'll open it.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, let me also give you my own experience actually and always staying up to the end of the proceedings. And I was given an award to that effect. So when we came for the next session of the House of Representatives, I won the proceedings. I was given the position of chief whip because of that singular recognition that we stay throughout the leadership will take note of it and then give you the necessary recognition.
This is about leadership. God also compensates you, reward you for what you are doing. I will give you a good example because we did do that. The current first lady, she was one of, she used to be the #1 person, first person that always come to this Senate when she was in the Senate. One of the most punctual, very punctual, and she'll sit throughout the session. She will come here before any other person. You see, God has rewarded her with the position of first lady. So not only the leadership, but even God rewards those who are serious with their businesses, who are serious with their representation. Because this representation that you do, you are doing on behalf of the people, and you have to do it in the best manner possible. Because you are being brought here to serve your people, to serve the entire nation. So once again, thank you very much, Senator Lungi, for being for this issue, and your observation is quite upheld. To lead the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, day of July 2026 at 11 a.m. prompt. I saw you.
Right leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion by the Senate leader that this Senate be hereby adjourned to the 15th day of July, Wednesday at 11 o'clock prompt. I saw it second.
Those in favor of this motion made by the leader for adjournment of this August Senate till tomorrow, the 15th day, the ayes have it, and so the Senate is adjourned till tomorrow, being Wednesday, the 15th of July, by 11 a.m. prompt. Yes, by 11 a.m. prompt. Go along.